Well, good evening, everyone. It is 7:00 p.m. and welcome to the Township Mapleton Council meeting for our first one for the year, Tuesday, January 13, 2026. We welcome everyone that's here and everyone that's online. We do have some special award to give out tonight and to hear from the recipients. We're very happy to have them here. But first off, please rise if you can for O Canada. Canada's Outstanding Young Farmers Program is an annual competition to recognize farmers that exemplify excellence in their profession and promote the tremendous contribution of agriculture. And every year this event brings recognition to outstanding farm couples in Canada between the ages of 18 and 39 years of age who exemplified excellence in their profession while fostering better urban-rural relations. Ryan and Romy Schill of Circle R Livestock Limited and Revolution Wool Company, located here in the Township of Mapleton, were chosen as national winners from 6 regional farms at Canada's Outstanding Young Farmers Program national event held in Toronto on November 27th and 30th of 2025. At this time, we are going to introduce Ryan and Romy and congratulate them on being Canada's young farmers. So I'm going to ask that they take the podium and tell us about their win, their experience, and what farming means to them.
Thank you. We didn't need a standing ovation, though.
The award, it's something to be very proud of, and you should be very proud of the accomplishments you've had. So
yeah, no, we are very honored for the award that, and even the other 6 or 5 couples that we competed against were all well deserved of this award. I guess we kind of back up how we all started it. We had quite a lengthy application form, so we kind of started off where we started in our farming career, kind of back when we first got married, at the young age of 22, and how we progressed on our farm since then. So we had to look at various aspects of our companies, the environmental impact that we have on our land, and how we try to mitigate risks moving forward, and even the financial component of the farm as well, of how well it's doing.
Yeah, so I guess some more on that. It was a really good process to help us sort of, you have to look back and really look at where you came from and how you got here, and kind of that big question of like, why did we do that, or how did this even happen? And sometimes we still question that. But yeah, it was just a great opportunity to do all of that. And then when we went to Toronto, we did some interviews with the national judges. We did our presentation. It was just a great experience to also be involved with the other nominees and even meet the other people involved in the organization involved with the organization from years back. There's just such a great network. And one of the things we found was that in this group, there's just such a motivation and forward-thinking mindset that everyone has for agriculture, which is really cool. And it's really neat that we were able to sort of add our little sheep and wool story to that too. Sometimes we don't give maybe ourselves enough credit. We're just a little 100-acre farm in Little Mapleton Township. But we all have a story to tell, and it was really great to be able to do that. I don't know, maybe you guys have questions or something. I don't know what you all want to know.
Well, thank you, and I think the first time that you and I met, Romy, was when the first time you did Taste Real.
Yeah.
Not Taste Real, when
Yeah.
you did the Rural Romp.
Yeah.
That's the first time I came out to the farm at that time and looked at the property and what you were doing there. And it was amazing, even way back then, when you were first starting
Yeah,
out.
and things like that, and those little farm markets and stuff like that, that was sort of that start. And, we used to do some freezer meat sales, and it was that little bit of a start, and then it just kind of evolved and grew from there. And yeah, now we've got this online store and all kinds of stuff. So it's that little start and gets you looking at potential opportunities.
Beautiful. Does anybody in council have any questions or comments? Okay, so you've done a tremendous job to be able to win Canada's Outstanding Young Farmers Program. As council, we're very, very happy and to support you, and I know that the county as well is to support your business, and it's something that you should be very proud of. And to go on along with that, we have with us today MP John Nader and MPP Matthew Ray, and I'm going to call Mr. Nader up to speak first. Well, go ahead, John.
Good evening, Your Worship. Thank you for having me tonight. Congratulations. It's a wonderful testament to your dedication and hard work to be recognized as Canada's outstanding young farmers. And I think what's most impressive is that you are able to tell Canada's agricultural story and what agriculture is in 2026. Agriculture is often not celebrated as much as it needs to be or as much as it ought to be. And your story through the use of social media helps to tell that story. You are inspiring a new generation of young people who could see a future in agriculture here in Mapleton, in Ontario, and in Canada. And so on behalf of Canada's Parliament, I'm very pleased to congratulate you on this important recognition and present you with this certificate to acknowledge your amazing accomplishment. Congratulations.
Now, at this time, we'll call up MPP Matt Ray to say a few words.
Move the mic, yeah, way up. I'll just speak a little louder, Your Worship. Good evening, everyone. It's great to be here. Congratulations, Ryan and Romney, on a very well-deserved national recognition. And really, leadership in agriculture is not just about acreage or output. It's measured in stewardship, courage, and care. And Ryan and Romney embodied all three traits here today. It's great to see such a success in Mapleton and Wellington County reach national acclaim, and I would say international acclaim in some cases too. And as MP Nader mentioned, really encourage you to keep telling your story. I think it's one of the worst kept secrets, at least locally, the strength of agriculture, but I don't think people in the larger urban centers in Ontario or Canada really realize what we have in Wellington County, in Ontario, and so really appreciate what you do at a national and provincial level to advocate for agriculture. And I do have a certificate on behalf of the Government of Ontario and the Province of Ontario as well, and just want to congratulate you.
To not get the podium. Perfect.
So it's going to go through the, some of our documents here, 4.1. We'll do that in a minute. Any declaration of pecuniary interest? Seeing none. Confirmation of minutes, item 4.1, moved by Councillor Woodham, second by Councillor Ottens. The minutes of Township Mapleton Council meeting held on December 9th, 2025 be confirmed as circulated in the agenda. Any questions, comments? All in favor? It's carried. At this time, we're going to ask Mr. John Nader to address council. Mr. Nader, welcome to Mapleton Council and address us.
It's good to be here.
That's good.
Thank you, Your Worship, members of council. It's been some time since I was here to provide kind of an update on things at the federal level, so it's a good time to be back. And I was told I had 10 minutes, but I'll keep it remarkably brief and not just hit the Coles Notes versions of a few things I wanted to highlight. Moving into 2026, I would suggest that this is probably going to be a year of some uncertainty, given the challenges internationally and specifically with our trade relations, both north-south, but also internationally as well. 2026 will require a review of the CUSMA, the Canada-U.S.-Mexico trade agreement. All indications point to that review will likely turn into a full renegotiation. So that presents significant challenges for Canada, but specifically for certain industries that would have an impact here in Mapleton, across Wellington County, in this area, namely due to agriculture. So that is going to be a significant issue that we're going to have to watch very carefully and ensure that there is a strong voice for agriculture throughout those negotiations. And that applies both to the supply managed commodities, but also for the non-supply managed commodities as well, given the challenges and uncertainty that are going to be happening north and south of the border. As a country, we do need to look at where our negotiation, or where our relations can go elsewhere, and that is leveraging the Canada-Europe trade agreement as well as the Trans-Pacific Partnership, focusing on opportunities in Europe as well as the Asia-Pacific. Japan is a major market for Canadian livestock products, specifically beef, and so there are opportunities there that we should be using those to the fullest of our advantages. There is obviously currently a trade mission to China. As many of you will know, there are significant challenges right now with Canadian agriculture products going to China. There are significant commentary about the electric vehicle mandate and the tariffs that are there here in Canada on Chinese vehicles. That is not going to go away overnight, and I think we also need to realize that regardless of what happens in the coming weeks, months, and years, China is an unpredictable partner, and so regardless of what happens in the short term, we can't necessarily rely on China as a reliable trading partner, given the multitude of challenges that are there in the Canada-China relationship. In terms of where things are at the federal level in terms of infrastructure funding, this is something that I like to raise a lot because I think there's always a challenge with federal funding, getting it to smaller rural municipalities like those in Mapleton. So in the most recent budget, there was the announcement of a Build Community Strong Fund, which brought together a few pre-existing funds and put them under this fund to the tune of about $50 billion. Certainly not a number to scoff at, but very few details right now in terms of where that funding will be allocated and how it will be divvied up among municipalities. The request that I've made and the focus that I've said time and time again is that I would like to see at least some portion of that funding be done on a formula basis that would be of a benefit to rural municipalities. What we saw with certain projects in the past, including the Housing Accelerator Fund, is the municipality of Mapleton, for example, was deemed to be a large urban municipality. So when you have a municipality like Mapleton competing for funds against Toronto, Mississauga, Hamilton, Vancouver, Montreal, it just doesn't make sense. So I'm hopeful that we can see that happen. Obviously, the project or the program hasn't yet been fully rolled out, but I'm hopeful to see some kind of adjustments made there to better benefit rural municipalities. The other major issue that came out of the budget was the Build Canada Homes. It's a new agency that is ideally designed to hopefully stimulate new home construction. Again, very few details in terms of how it would specifically affect places like Mapleton. Some projects or some programs have already been unveiled in terms of federal land. Not as much of a relevance to places like Mapleton, but certainly something we'll be keeping an eye on. And I know your worship has been in contact and will be following up on certain matters there as well. In terms of the House of Commons legislative agenda going forward, the House returns in about a week and a half. So we're eager to see what will be on the docket. It was a relatively light legislative agenda leading up to Christmas. Very few new pieces of legislation were introduced. So we will see where things go in the new year. Obviously a few issues I'd like to see addressed, but we will wait to see what the government brings forward. One specific issue is bail reform. I do hear from our law enforcement partners that bail reform is a major issue, that far too much crime is being committed by those who are out on bail, and very few restraints in place for those. So that's something that I know from talking to constituents as well as law enforcement, they want to see that acted upon very quickly. And then finally, I just want to once again say that my office, the door is always open. And I say that both to the municipality, but also to those who may be watching us online, is that if you ever have an issue with a federal program, do not hesitate to reach out to my office. One of the things that absolutely breaks my heart is when I hear stories of where an individual has been trying to get through to the government, has been dealing with shenanigans through bureaucracy for months and months and months, and only finally contacts us as a last resort. We're here to help. We're here to help fix those things. So if you have an issue with the Canada Revenue Agency, with employment insurance, with Canada Pension Plan, with anything related to a federal agency, give our office a call. A lot of times we can get things sorted out relatively quickly. You don't have to deal with it on your own. Call us, and we're happy to try to get those things fixed quickly as possible. So, Your Worship, I think I've saved at least 4 minutes of your agenda time, so I will turn it back over to you, and if there are any questions, I'm happy to address them to the best of my ability.
You actually talked longer than I thought you were going to, so very impressed with that. Before you stop, though, you need to give us some impression of what it's like to be the Speaker of the House.
It can be a challenge. It can be like running a kindergarten classroom sometimes, but it's also very rewarding as well because you are at the center of the debate, so you get to hear the full debate from start to finish and being at the heart of the democracy there. So it's quite the opportunity, and I'm really enjoying it so far.
Now, I know a question has come forward, and I'm sure people watching have had this question as well. How do you remember everyone's name?
So we do have an app for that.
Okay.
We have it's an app on our phone with each person's picture, and if you get it right, you swipe it one way. If you get it wrong, you swipe the other way, and you click on it to see if you're right or wrong. So when I was first elected to the position, I was scrolling through 343 faces to try to recognize each person's name, their riding, and their title and position. So it's a challenge.
Sounds like a dating game.
It's kind of like a dating game, yes. Though I was swiping right a lot more than left.
Well, that's good to hear. That's good to hear. Any questions from members of council to Mr. Nader? We don't often get an opportunity to, put him on the hot spot and ask questions. So if you have one, anybody in the staff want something? Nothing? You don't? I know. I'm putting staff. I know. Come on, Patrick. You have to have. Okay, you have a chat later. Okay. Well, we do appreciate Mr. Nader for you coming and being here and addressing council. For both you and our MPP, Mr. Ray, we thank you both for coming here tonight, and we appreciate it. I know the Shields appreciate you being here as well, so thank you both for coming here and for you presenting to us.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Now you can both leave if you don't have to stick around. But you might want to. We got a couple delegations, so it's all good. The first up, we do have delegations, and the first one is Community Resource Center are going to speak to us. Community Resource Center from North and Centre Wellington, and we have Allie and Allie, and they're going to talk to us about coldest night of the year, Minto Mapleton, the 2026 version. Allie?
Hi. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for having us today. As they said, I am Allie, and this is also Allie as well, and we're from the Community Resource Center of North and Centre Wellington. We're pleased to be here to share a bit about our agency and our services, and then, of course, an overview of coldest night of the year. We're proud to bring it to Minto and Mapleton this year, and so it's an event that brings our community together, and it supports our neighbors facing food insecurity, housing instability, and financial pressures, as we know, are on the rise here in rural Wellington. Okay, so a little bit about the CRC. We are 40 years old this year, and so we're really excited to be able to celebrate our 40th year. We started back in 1986 as a Centre Wellington Advisory Group with just a couple members to discuss gaps and overlaps of services in Centre Wellington. All the way up till now, where we absorbed North Wellington as well and became the Community Resource Center of North and Centre Wellington in 2001. At this time, we also run early on centers, childcare centers, and community outreach, which we're going to quickly talk about. So our purpose and our vision are extremely large. As you guys know, in rural Wellington, we lack quite a few services and social services. And so our purpose is to bridge those gaps and to engage in the provision of services when no other agency is able to provide that service. Our vision is to have a community of thriving individuals and to be a leader in filling those gaps in community services in Wellington County. So right now, we do that with 4 divisions: licensed childcare and before and after school programs that are currently running in Centre Wellington, and with the hope of expanding into North Wellington this year and next year. We operate all early on child and family centers throughout rural Wellington, which include North Wellington, Center Wellington, and Guelph, Aramasa. So currently we have 6 main sites through all of those townships, as well as 9 mobile sites. And then, of course, our community outreach and support services, and that's why we're here today. Coldest Night of the Year specifically supports all of the programs that we're running in our community outreach division. So, the Community Outreach Division addresses the need in Wellington County, which includes food insecurity. So right now, 1 in 4 in our county are living in food insecure households. We have a very large shortfall of affordable housing, right now only filling 11% of the need. Financial vulnerability is increasing, so with housing affordability and reduced food access, we're seeing a lot of growing financial strain. A shortage of diversion resources. Right now, the CRC, it has the only outreach workers working in all of our townships. So we currently employ 3 outreach workers that are dealing with individuals that are precariously housed or unhoused or experiencing financial insecurity. And then the need for support is increasing. So 41% increase in referrals referrals last year, and the demand is growing. And I know we're short on time, so you just tap me when I just stop talking. Okay. Okay, great. Okay, so we have a lot of services within our community outreach department, and so that's why we handed out today a very large package for you guys to be able to go through and learn about all the services that we are offering. But we wanted to really focus on our advocacy and housing support because, again, the coldest night of the year, all the funds that we do fundraise go directly into our advocacy and housing support services that we're providing for the community. So just last year alone, we provided 4,032 referrals to local support services in Wellington County. That means clients came to us and we referred them to other organizations that were able to help their needs. That could include CMHA, employment services like Agilic or Second Chance. It could include government programs and social services, so we would help them with ODSP applications or CPPD, food banks, things like that. And then right now, this is our first year having a dedicated integrated health and housing worker. And that person right now is working with 14 individuals that are currently unhoused and precariously housed here in Wellington County. And she alone was able to actually house 12 individuals permanently this year in Wellington County. That's keeping individuals within their townships and within their communities versus sending them to Guelph, to shelters or emergency services out there. Our other programs, so these are some of our annual programs that we run each year, and again, the needs are increasing. All of our programs are meant to help divert people from experiencing homelessness or becoming unhoused. So for example, our income tax clinic, we run this every year. It's about to start up again. Last year, we were able to file 250 income taxes for clients. That enables them to be able to access vital government benefits such as the Canada Child Benefit. Again, social services that they wouldn't be able to access if they didn't have up-to-date tax returns. We also operate many emergency food programs, which involve providing gift cards, shelf-stable food, or partnering with the Fresh Box Market that's located out in Center Wellington to provide fresh produce to a lot of our clients and families. These are just some of our family and children's support programs. One of the ones that deals specifically with food insecurity. Again, 1 in 3 children are currently living in a food insecure household in Ontario. That number is extremely high. And so we launched a 9-week snack program that currently feeds over 420 children within the rural county every summer for 9 weeks. And that relieves some of that pressure off of our local food banks that are really struggling right now. Okay, so some benefits and outcomes of community outreach and support services. Again, that's that early intervention and diversion. So we're really just trying to take away some of that financial strain that people are experiencing so they can take their limited resources and put them back into their housing, pay for their rent, pay for their utilities, prevent evictions, things like that. Staying connected and able to access the services they need. Again, in the rural county, we lack a lot of resources and services, and so it's our job to make sure that people are educated about some of the services that are available here. They develop and maintain supportive relationships in their community. They feel a sense of belonging and inclusion in their community, and they will build self-efficiency and feel more able to handle life's challenges. Is that my last slide? There we go. Yeah.
Okay, so that brings us to Coolest Night of the Year. So Coolest Night of the Year is the largest event that we do to raise funds for our Outreach and Support Services Division and the programs and services just mentioned in those slides. So it's a family-friendly winter walk held in support of local charities and raises funds and awareness for people facing homelessness, hunger, and hurt, as Ali mentioned. Right now, I believe there's almost 200 locations across Canada that host their own Coolest Night of the Year. So if you walk for Coolest Night of the Year Minto Mapleton, then you're helping to raise funds for the Community Resource Center and our programs that support people dealing with those particular issues. And if you say you walk for CNOA North Perth, then you're supporting or raising funds for that charity that's hosting in that location. The event, for us, it's our second year, but it has been running in communities since 2011, so it's been very successful because it uses the peer-to-peer fundraising model, which means that the organizations aren't the only ones trying to fundraise for themselves, but they're using people in the community to help fundraise for them. So someone signs up, they invite their network of people to participate as well, and they're also reaching out to their network for donations, and then those people who aren't invited also invite more people, and so on and so on. So it builds exponentially. So it's a great event that engages residents, businesses, and community leaders. So last year, our first year, we didn't know what to expect, but we hoped to get 15 teams involved and around 100 walkers and hoped to raise about $20,000. And what we ended up with was 30 teams, 164 walkers, and over $40,000 raised. So it was a very successful first year. In those booklets, there's a one-page impact infographic, which highlights the direct impact of Coolest Night of the Year 2025 for our programs and services. So the referrals that we were able to provide, the advocacy, connecting people to the services they needed, the individuals that we helped find permanent housing, the food support programs we had. So 420 kids received summer snacks boxes this past summer, and 300 kids received winter wear just a few months ago. So that was the direct impact of Coolest Night 2025 for us. Okay, so this year, the date is February 28th. We've expanded the event name to Minto Mapleton in an effort to get more people and more of the community in Wellington County involved. The funds support, again, the 4 townships that our community outreach and support services support. So we are reaching out to Centre Wellington and Wellington North to try to get those residents involved as well. So it will start at the walk starts at the Harrison Arena, which is where we had it last year, so we're doing that again. Next year, we plan to have the event in Mapleton and then switch off every year between Minto and Mapleton. And the larger hope would be to be able to have the event run at the same time in both locations. That would be like our big dream. So the general schedule is there. It starts at 4, people check in. They do the walk. Afterwards, there's a homemade meal. Our staff cook in our childcare division will be providing the meal. So it will be 2 different types of soup. And then we send our people leave around 7:30, so that's when it wraps up. And we throw in a few other fun things like kids' activities, a photo booth. We'll do a presentation during the meal so that people really understand where the funds are going as well. So that's our route, which I apologize for the gray on gray. I couldn't do another color for some reason, but that is a 2.5-kilometer loop in Harrison. So if people have the choice to sign up for 2.5 or 5K, so if they do the 5K, they'll walk it twice. Along the route, there'll be a rest stop with hot chocolate and treats. And then we make sure the walk goes past several local businesses, and we provide them with decorating kits so that they can decorate their windows and support the people that are walking. And so next year in Mapleton, we would do the same thing. We'd make sure the route passes through businesses and that the businesses can also decorate and participate that way. So a great thing about Coldest Night is the opportunities for local businesses and the sponsorship opportunities. So statistically, CNOY walkers and volunteers will more likely to support a CNOY sponsor. So there are lots of opportunities for businesses to get involved and get recognition during the event and then during the campaign as well. And so our hope is once we get more Mapleton people involved and more Mapleton teams walking, then more businesses in Mapleton will be encouraged to participate through sponsorship. How the funds are used, again, they will go towards our community outreach and support services, which we talked about already. And opportunities for council participation. So firstly, you can participate by forming or joining a walking team. In the booklets, there's a half page with a QR code. It will take you right to our Minto Mapleton event page. And so once you sign up, you'll get a link that you can then share to your network of people, and you can invite them through that link, or you can request donations through that link. So everyone who signs up gets their own unique little mini event page with a link associated with it. So we're encouraging staff participation as well. We don't have posters today, but I will drop some off at the township office. We just want to personalize the flyer to have our location specifically and our logo as well. You can help promote it through municipal channels. So we do quite a lot of regular posting for Coldest on social media for Coldest Night. And so if we tag the township account, the Township of Mapleton account, or their chamber, Mapleton Chamber, if those accounts can share the information, that's super helpful. And then lastly, to consider a friendly intermunicipal challenge. So we did mention this to the mayors already, and I think that they're on board. We'll see. Just something fun and I don't know, engaging to do a little competition between the two townships. Perhaps one raises more than the other, then the other one has to carry the other one's flag. That was an idea. There were some other more extreme ideas that weren't as well received, like walking in flip-flops or walking in shorts, but that's okay. We'll brainstorm some other ideas and share them. And if we do still have time to share the video, a highlight reel from last year, I thought would be nice to share. In closing, Coolest Night of the Year is an opportunity for our community to come together in support of neighbors who are facing some of life's toughest challenges. We are respectfully asking that council endorse the Coolest Night of the Year Minto Mapleton 2026 campaign, including encouraging participation by council members and staff and supporting promotion of the event within the municipality. We would be grateful for your continued support and are happy to answer any questions.
Awesome. Thank you both for presenting the information about what the Community Resource Center is. And when you referenced in there Wellington County, you meant Wellington North part, not the south part of the county. It's all the north where the funds go. So that's very important to know as well. No, we're not walking in flip-flops. We're not walking in shorts. And
We tried.
You tried, but Mayor Turton and I, we said no right away to that because nobody wants frozen toes. But we do appreciate you coming here and you speaking on this. I'll open it up for questions from council or questions you might have. Comments? Go ahead. Councilor Ottens?
Yes, thank you, through you, Mayor. Could you elaborate, the fundraising is done, is it like a walkathon style where the participants would get sponsors to sponsor them to walk, or is it mostly done by the corporate sponsors of the event?
By the walkers, yeah.
We do have quite a few like business sponsors that sponsor as well, so like a title sponsor. We have a lot of in-kind sponsors as well. So we had Maze Cafe do all of the hot chocolate for our rest stop. So they do a lot of in-kind sponsorships, especially because they're small businesses, which we really appreciate because then we can keep more funds within the actual division.
Anything else? Now, I know we're talking about putting a team together. We invited MPP Ray to be on our team, but he said that he couldn't really pick Mapleton because then Minto would be sad. So he has to make his own team up, but that's okay.
We're
But
okay with that.
He really wanted to be on Mapleton's team, but we'll just leave that out there.
As long as that's on the record.
And Mr. Nader, he just decided that he's going to be in Ottawa or something.
Yeah, he said something about
Not
St.
wanna do
Mary's.
it.
Yeah.
Said something about, I'm going to be cold elsewhere. I think that's what he said. He was St. Mary's. But he did promise that he would be in Mapleton next year when it's in Mapleton. So we're going to hold him to that promise. It's on video right now. He's shaking his head. People can't see his head, but I can see
in a
it.
minute.
He is shaking his head, yes. So team captain for us, I cannot be there, and I'm very unfortunate I can't be there. But Councilor Reed is going to be our team captain. She's got the hat. She's got the, there you go. She has a couple of the posters that we can put out there, but thank you so much both for coming and presenting, and we appreciate and we look forward to the results.
Great. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. I do have the resolution here, moved by Councilor Otten, second by Councilor Woodham, that Township Mapleton Council receive for information the presentation of Community Resource Center of North and Centre Wellington regarding, one, an overview of the Community Resource Center of North and Centre Wellington, including services supporting Mapleton residents. 2, introduction to the Coolest Night of the Year Minto Mapleton event and its community impact. 3, summary of the 2026 event plans and growing local need. And 4, the opportunities for Mapleton to participate and support the campaign. And that council endorsed the Coolest Night of the Year Minto Mapleton 2026 campaign, including encouraging participation by council members and staff and supporting promotion of the event within the municipality. Any questions or comments on the resolution? All in favor? It's carried. Thank you. Thank you both. We're going to move now to our next presentation, which we are fortunate to have Janet Harrop here again. No, we don't. Janet's not here. But we do have Wellington Federation of Agriculture here. And Liz, I guess you're speaking on behalf of them? No? Okay, and well, I don't see Janet here. Mr. Clerk? All right, so WFA is not here, so we're going to have to skip WFA presentation. We'll have to come back another day. Yeah, well, if she shows up, we'll go back to it later. So we'll move on to 9.1, which is Community Grants Program Funding approvals. Patrick.
Thank you, Mayor Davidson. This report outlines the first intake under our new community grants program. So before outlining the report, I would like to extend thanks to both Amy Gross and Rachel Carter for leading the I guess, updated community grants program. So the program followed council-approved policy 7.1, which was updated late last year. Intake launched on October 1st and closed at the end of October. Over that time period, staff received 12 applications through the online application form. Those applications totaled over $200,000. Worth noting is that the approved budget includes an allocation of $20,000 for community grants for this program. So staff had some work to do. Under the updated policy framework, a staff team with representatives from Finance and Public Works and Community Services reviewed each of their applications for alignment with program objectives and the full funding envelope. Based on staff consensus, recommendation was presented at the Parks and Recreation Committee meeting. That committee fully supported the proposed allocations, and those are being brought forward this evening for council's consideration and approval. The total allocation would be $11,970, leaving approximately $8,000, which staff are proposing a second intake be launched. Those applications would launch immediately and be due at the end of January. They'd follow the same process undertaken in intake 1, with the Parks and Rec Committee providing recommendations for council's consideration and approval. Just worth note, for 2027, with this process now established, it's intended to occur in advance of the budget. The proposed allocations will be included within the whole budget package. Overall, from staff and everyone involved, the process was fairly smooth, both from the applicant's perspective and staff's and the Parks and Rec Committee members. As always, we'll look to improve the process each year, but it's a good foundation put forth this year. So overall, the report seeks council approval of the recommendations from committee for grant funding allocations to Alma Softball Association, Drayton Mapleton Ag Society, Drayton Minor Hockey, and Mapleton Minor Soccer. And staff are here to attend to any further questions from council at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Kelly. The resolution moved by Councillor Otten, second by Councillor Woodham. The Township Mapleton Council received for information Finance Report FIN 2026-01 regarding the 2026 Community Grant Program, and the proposed 2026 Community Grants Program funding allocations be approved as recommended by the Parks and Recreation Committee. Questions from council? Councillor Ottens.
Thank you, through you, Mayor. I'm always happy to see these grants because it means things are happening in our community. You mentioned $200,000 worth of grants were applied for, and we're doling out almost 12. So the other ones, were they not suitable for the program? I'm just curious where those applications go. Are they being directed to maybe other funding opportunities? It seems like that's great that there's $200,000 worth of ask, and I'm just wondering what happens with those.
Patrick.
Through Mayor Davidson, yeah, a large proportion of that was one specific application that didn't really meet the criteria of what this program's intended for, and staff have followed up with that group accordingly. There were other ones that essentially wouldn't fit with what this program was established for. Subject to council's approval tonight, each of those organizations will be made aware that their application was unsuccessful. Any organization is eligible to submit an application under the second intake. I would say if they submitted the same application, it would probably have the same result. They just didn't fit the criteria. Staff outlined that. Amy would have been present for the Parks and Rec Committee meeting. Just outline the applications and why these ones fit and were being the ones proposed. But yeah, one application specifically kind of increased that number.
Other questions? All in favor? It's carried. So, Mr. Kelly, will these groups be notified tomorrow or this week sometime?
Yeah, through you, Mayor Davidson, the draft letters are ready to go out to notify each of the groups. I'm assuming we'll contact directly, not just wait for the letter for the 4 groups that were successful.
Thank you. Next up, we have the 9.12, which is our property tax write-offs. Mr. Kelly?
Thanks once again, Mayor Davidson. So This report's provided annually to council and provides a summary of write-offs that occurred in the preceding year. Noted within the report, staff processed write-offs on 60 properties in 2025. That's well below the 210 write-offs that were processed the prior year. Having said that, the volume of write-offs number-wise isn't totally indicative. The total value is still significant. A total of $412,000 of write-offs occurred in 2025. 140,000 of those were applicable to Mapleton. As noted in the report, it's consistent. TIAs on farm properties were the leading driver of these write-offs. So due to the continuation of write-offs on farm properties, the confusion that's caused to farm property owners by that process, the administrative burden placed on our staff, the township did request an opportunity to delegate to the Ministry of Agriculture, Food and Agribusiness at the upcoming Aroma Conference. So just last week, we were pleased to hear that our request was accepted, and staff and council will be delegating to Minister Jones at the Aroma Conference on January the 20th. Staff, we did include in the report a number of graphs that hopefully can provide some additional context on the impact and history of property tax write-offs in Mapleton.
Thank you, Mr. Kelly. The resolution moved by Councillor Woodham, seconded by Councillor Ottens, that Township Mapleton Council receive for information Finance Report FIN 2026-02 regarding 2025 property tax write-offs. Any questions for Mr. Kelly? All in favor? It's carried. Next up, we have the 2026 interim property tax levy. Mr. Kelly?
Thank you once again, Mayor Davidson. This one is more of a housekeeping report. It's provided for council for information purposes. Passing of an interim tax levy bylaw enables staff to issue interim tax bills valued at 50% of the previous year's levy. The bylaw has been included within this evening's agenda package for council's consideration and approval. With that approval in place, staff can move forward with issuing those bills with the proposed due dates of March 26th and June 25th. Here to answer any questions.
The resolution moved by Councillor Otten, seconded by Councillor Woodham, the Township Mapleton Council receive for information Finance Report FIN 2026-03 regarding the 2026 interim property tax levy, and that council consider bylaw 2026-001 being an interim tax levy bylaw. Questions? All in favor? Carried. Next, we go to 9.2, which we are under the planning. We have a consent application moved by Councillor Woodham, seconded by Councillor Ottens, that Council of the Township of Mapleton support consent application B7625 as presented for lands described as Part Lot 3, Concession 14, with a municipal address of 8622, Concession 14, with the normal conditions, and that council authorizes the Planning and Development Manager to file with Secretary Treasurer of the Planning and Land Division Committee at the County of Wellington a letter of clearance condition of these conditions of completion. Any questions for the Planning Manager? Councilor Martin?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Maybe a question for the planner. How, generically speaking, how often does the WFA have an ability to comment on these types of applications? Or, and I guess the premise for my question is, it's, you know, we didn't get to hear their delegation, but I'm curious to know what an advocacy group like that thinks of an application like this that was a perfectly good farm field a couple years ago and is now a brand new house and is now being declared surplus. So yeah, I'm just curious. I know it fits everything, but how often do they comment on applications coming through?
Michelle?
Thank you, through you, Mayor, to you, Councillor Martin. The WFA, as you said, is simply an advocacy group. They are not in the listed mandatory agencies to be circulated. This is not our application. It is a county application, so I can't really speak to that. However, generally, most planning applications, if requested that you want to be involved, I know we do it just simply out of respect and courtesy, not because we have to. But obviously, we have the largest farm land in our township, and so we have always done our best to work with the WFA. Now, and I've also spent a fair bit of time with Barclay Knapp, who's our new president, because as he has said before here, land use planning is not his forte, and their meeting schedule and when comments are due has been a bit of an issue for them, but I don't know. My understanding is that the county planning land division does not entertain circulation to them, but does work with them on other areas, but that could have changed.
Anything else? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. So the application we'll see at the land division. The consent application, 9.22, moved by Councilor Reid, second by Councilor Martin. Council Township Mapleton support consent application B 8325 is presented on lands described as Part Lot 15, Concession 2, with the regular conditions, and further that council authorizes the Planning and Development Manager to file with the Secretary Treasurer of the Planning and Land Division Committee at the County of Wellington a letter of clearance of these conditions on completion of the same. Questions on this one? All in favor? Carried. Next, we have a report on before and after school program, Drayton Heights Public School. Amy?
Thank you, Mayor Davidson. Through you to council, I am happy just to bring a quick report forward. This is a little bit of housekeeping that happens every year for our program. As you're all aware, the before and after school program runs at Drayton Heights Public School. As part of our agreement with the school, we do need to enter a fee subsidy agreement with the County of Wellington, which allows parents to apply should they be approved for some subsidy for their fees. It also ensures that we are offering a quality program when a third-party manager, such as the County of Wellington's Early Years Division, comes in and reviews our program. It has previously been known as operating criteria. It was an operating criteria evaluation that happens annually. They have shifted a little bit, and it is now called the Quality Assessment Tool. It's essentially the same thing. It is just a newer way to look at how the assessment happens, and we get to be a little bit more of a partner as opposed to them just coming in and making maybe some decisions for us. The operating criteria has evolved over the last several years, as it was primarily written for childcare programs, which obviously we don't fit all of the bill programs like ours for those for childcare. So, for example, we don't really have control of what the layout of the classroom looks like, but there is expectation of how your room would look in a childcare program. So they've looked at some of those things and weighed them, and but things like our materials and what programming we're offering in the hours, those do matter. So I'm happy to say we did well. We met the majority of all of the criteria. Very proud of the staff that are in that program. They are very dedicated and work very hard with the children every day. We have wonderful families, and we're looking forward to continuing providing the quality program that we have here in Mapleton.
Thank you, Amy. The resolution is moved by Councilor Martin, second by Councilor Reid. The Township Mapleton Council received information, report REC 2026-01 regarding the before and after school program, County of Wellington's Quality Assessment Tool results. Questions or comments? All in favor? It's carried. Going to 10.1, approval of bylaws. Moved by Councilor Martin, second by Councilor Reid, that bylaw 2026-001 being a bylaw to provide for an interim tax levy on all assessment and to specify installment due dates, stipulate penalty and interest rates for taxes in default, be hereby read a first, second, and third time, and finally passed this 13th day of January 2026, signed by the mayor and clerk and sealed with a corporate seal. Any questions? All in favor? It's carried. Next, we have the item number 11, which is correspondence for council's direction. Resolution 11.1, moved by Councilor Reid, second by Councilor Martin. Township Mapleton Council received for information the letter dated December 17th, 2025 from RLB Chartered Professional Accountants regarding their 2025 audit plan, including objectives and scope of the audit, planned approach for the 2025 financial audit, statement audit, update on issues that may impact the audit in current and future years, and areas of emphasis regarding the audit. Any questions for Mr. Kelly on this? All in favor? I saw you looking at me like, I got no answers. Now, correspondence for council's information. Thank you, Mr. Clerk, for the 4 pages of those. We do have one here that, unless there's others, but right now we have one moved by Councillor Otten, seconded by Councillor Reed. Township Mapleton Council support and reinforce the City of Guelph's resolution of December 16, 2025 regarding the Grand River Conservation Authority and Bill 68 Plan to Protect Ontario Act of 2025, and that council support and reinforce the Township of North Huron's resolution of December 1st, 2025 regarding Environmental Registry Notice Number 25-1257 proposing to reduce Ontario's 36 conservation authorities to 7 regional entities. And whereas Mapleton Council has no issue with consolidating services as a cost-saving measure, the province's proposal appears extreme. Our perspective is that the needs of smaller municipalities will get lost within a conservation authority that encompasses half of southwestern Ontario. Under the proposed Ontario Provincial Conservation Authority, Mapleton will continue to be represented by 2 conservation authorities, but they will be consequently proportionately much larger, meaning our municipal voice will be even further minimized. And further, that a copy of this resolution be forwarded to MPP Matthew Ray, Grand River Conservation Authority, the Maitland Valley Conservation Authority, towns and townships within Wellington County, the City of Guelph, Township of North Huron, Hassan Bassett, Ontario's newly appointed Chief Conservation Executive, and the Honorable Todd McCarthy, the Minister of Environmental Conservation and Parks. Okay. Whew. Any questions or comments on that? Go ahead.
Thank you, through you, Mayor. Yeah, I'm the one that I really thought this was important, especially after having Phil Beard from the MVCA come to our previous meeting and emphasize how dire this proposal was. We're already such a tiny part of the MVCA, and expanding that would make our voice even smaller, as mentioned in that resolution. So I thought it was important that we support these other municipalities.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? All in favor? That's carried. Thank you, Mr. Clerk, for all that writing. Anything else? Councilor Martin?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a question about 12.2. I see that we had a meeting back in October with Chief Hill of the Six Nations. I'm just curious if you'd be able to elaborate on the meeting. It seems to indicate possibly some shared priorities around water protection. So yeah, I was just kind of curious on the nature of the meeting and how our priorities might be aligning with that.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. So the Chief Hill, Sherry Lynn Hill, came to Township, and Mr. Barron and I spoke with her, and one of, I can't remember, their CEO, I think it is the same idea. They had come to us to discuss a matter important to them, in that she is the elected chief, and there's another group claiming to also be the head. So there's some controversy within the Indigenous population of who should be in charge. So she's the elected chief, but then you have all the old chiefs that are banded together, and they're also been recognized by the province, and the battle is within that both of their entities are being recognized by the province, and that their thought is that it should only be them because they're the elected representatives. Did I get that right, Mr. Barron? Okay. So during those conversations, we did bring up, as our waterways are in the community come through our rivers and our streams, and we've had some extreme flooding events in the past, and we, even this last week, had the waters at the top levels. And part of that is all the waters that are coming from the rural properties being put into the ditches that's flowing into the river. So we discussed with them that further downstream is where all this water goes into the Grand River, which goes down to Brantford, which is where they're from. And that they may want to discuss at a future date, working with the province to figure out how to mitigate the amount of water and the pollution that goes into that water. It's pretty bad when our water coming out of our sewer or our lagoon system is much cleaner than what the water is in the river, and that we're actually making the river better by, our effluent. So we had that discussion, and that's where she responded back and said, if you want to go a bit further with that, they're on board in that discussion and would like to partner with us on that. Anything further on all those? Would you have 30 of them this time, Mr. Clerk? That's a new record for you. 4 touchdowns, and plus. That's right. All right, so any notice of motion then? So we do have item 15, which is other business. And one of the items we have in other business is that the sitting of the Court of Revision, which is on January 20th. Now, all of us, except for Councillor Woodham, will be at Roma. And they're looking for someone to be a representative of the township for this Court of Revision. So I have a resolution here that by Councillor Martin, second by Councillor Reid, that Township Mapleton Council nominates Mapleton Township Councillor Woodham as its member of the Court of Revision for Municipal Drain 3, and that will take place at 3 p.m. on January 20th, 2026. We're not going to ask for any comments or questions from Councillor Woodham. All those in favor? That's good, yeah. Okay, you're in. Anything else in the other business that anybody would like to bring up? Seeing none. Move on to item 17, which is our closure. Moved by Councillor Reid, second by Councillor Martin, that bylaw number 2026-002, being a bylaw to confirm all actions and proceeding of the Council of the Corporation Township Mapleton, be hereby read first, second, third time, signed by the Mayor and Clerk, sealed with a corporate seal. All in favor? We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to the Shills for coming. They're still here. I can't believe you actually stuck it out. Look at you.